Hello and welcome to City Connections. Today we're going to begin thinking about spring, but that won't start this week, I understand. But we have a lot coming up with the cleanup, and then Captain Bobby Lips and Diane Whitehead from Community Policing. We're first going to talk about door-to-door sales and some activities that may be happening in your neighborhood soon if they haven't already, what you should and shouldn't do. And then Denise Johnson from Sanitation will join us toward the end, and we'll talk about the spring cleanup, when it's going to start, and what areas we're going to do, when and why. So, Bobby, we'll start with you on, do you get many calls yet about people having solicitors door to door about they want the drive fixed, the roof, or the tree trimmed? Or
I think right now with the way spring is, we haven't started our heavy call load, but it's coming up just as soon as the weather breaks and stays nice for several days. They'll come out of the woodwork.
What do people need to look for?
Basically, they need to look for that reputable companies will not send door-to-door salesmen to your house and say that, we can make you a deal on fixing your roof, or we noticed your driveway was all cracked and we can repair that. They just don't do that. These are the people who, what I call them fly-by-nights. They have some leftover construction materials, and they're willing to do your driveway for a certain amount of price, and then, but they need money up front, or they'll help you go to the bank and get the money. Reputable companies and businessmen don't do that. So my suggestion is, if somebody comes to you and says, well, if you don't have all the money, I'll take you to the bank, that should be a warning right there to you that they're out to scam you.
What about if they insist that you pay for the materials up front?
That is not, again, that's not a way reputable businessmen do. They give you a estimated cost. It'll have the material list there, and then if you think it's too high, you can talk with them about that, but don't pay for materials up front. But if you're going to, ask them where they're going to get the materials at and go there and do that. I've done that before, and went and paid for the materials myself, because what will happen sometimes is that they may overcharge for products, and whatever's left over, 5 or 6 sheets of plywood, a box of nails, something, they can take that back and get that money back. So I always like paying for the materials myself, and maybe even pay for it having delivered. And then, if the person does not come back to do the job, I've got the material there, maybe I can hire somebody else to do it.
Well, and also people should really get 1 or 2 other quotes. The prices may vary enough that it'd be worth your while. But it's really to get references, especially.
Sure.
I know a lot of people now that are unemployed or underemployed or out trying to find odd jobs to do. And most of them, I'm sure, are truly respectable and will not gouge you. But there's just that 1 or 2 that will. And they can make out like a bandit in a neighborhood.
Sure they can.
And we don't want to see that happen.
The elderly seem to be preyed upon a little bit more than the average citizen, because we usually get 2 or 3 calls a year, and the banks have worked real good with us. When the person comes and say they need $7,000 out of their house out of their account for house repair, that's a flag for them, and they'll contact us, and we'll go and we'll speak with that individual and find out what is $7,000 needed for. Why are you going to the bank with them, and things like that. But if the deal sounds too good to be true, it's too good.
It really is.
It really is.
And then I asked you earlier about, we get so many door-to-door candy sales little people in, and a lot of them are not from Richmond or Wayne County. But you're telling me that is legal, not-for-profits?
Not for profit. They can solicit it. One of the favorite places that like to do it is South 37th and East Main Street.
Never give to them.
That money does not stay in Richmond. Matter of fact, then people are transported from Indianapolis to here. They're left here all day. They're required to stay on the concrete
the
island there between it, and they're not allowed to leave the island to go out into traffic to collect the money. That's why sometimes you'll see them reaching out there like that with their bucket, because it is an arrestable offense. We've had several complaints over the years, but they're allowed to come back and do it.
If you quit giving to them, they won't be coming back.
Right. I mean, it's not worth their time, but every time we go out that way, my wife and I or something like that, we see them out there. We don't give to them.
Don't you run them off?
I call the police.
They probably have scanners and know when you're coming.
But they come early in the morning and they leave late afternoon.
That just brings to the point of buying local. There's so many youth organizations selling things. There's so many older people out of work now looking for jobs. So don't take somebody just off the street. I know another famous one is the people selling meat. Oh, we just got a few left here. Let me sell you these for this great price. And they're always from out of town.
Right.
You don't know how old the meat is. How
You're taking a real chance on that. We get several complaints, and sometimes they can be real pushy. And if you know,
most salespeople are.
If you tell a person no and they continue to talk with, somebody really needs to call 911 and get a hold of us so we can come out and really just check them out to make sure they're legitimate. The freezers that are in the back of these these little pickup trucks they have, really don't even have a way for electric power. They use dry ice. And that dry ice will stay in there all day. But where does that meat come from? Is it local meat? Is it meat from a meat market? Or how old is it too? You know, if you'll look at it, I don't know if it has a date of package on it or not. But I wouldn't buy it.
I wouldn't either.
So it's simple as that.
Diane, do you have any other complaints that you hear about any of these things? Or
Well, I heard yesterday that someone was going door to door trying to sell windows. So even though it has not been really spring weather, it's happening, and it's happening already. And they do, like Bobby said, target the elderly because they're more willing, I won't say naive, but they're more willing to trust, and they think, oh, someone's come and they're willing to help me. And there are a few companies that might want a little bit of money up front, but you know, if there are, pay by check. If you can, like Bobby said, go directly to the distributor, the manufacturer, and pay for your things, but never, ever give cash.
Right.
well, and it's a really good idea to think about it for a day or two.
Right.
You know, don't make a on-the-spot decision. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right.
Check it out.
You know,
Get out
ask
there.
for references, ask for
Right.
a couple other quotes from other business.
Right. And there are, you know, like Denise said earlier, she just doesn't answer the door. Well, that's a lot of people's standard response. I just won't answer the door. But that could be someone seeing if you're home. So maybe not answer the door, but let them know that you're home so that they won't, you know.
You don't have to let them in.
You don't have to let them in. You can talk to them through the door. But you know,
That's
never
preferred.
even if you talk to someone that comes door to door, never let them in your home. Talk to them through a locked door.
Right.
And I just like telling them, you know, if you don't feel comfortable talking to this person or persons, please, by all means, call 911. We'll come there and we'll find out what they're doing, because they may be trying to intimidate you into buying something, signing a contract or something, and we don't mind, you know, helping you out that way.
And don't say I'm alone in the house. Wait till my son comes home, or you
Yeah.
know, wait till my
Right.
husband comes home. You may say, you know, my husband's in the other room. Let me go ask him, and just shut and lock the door.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Very good. Well, now it's come time for spring. This is our favorite time of year. For those of you out there that don't know that we have a three-member team here already. Diane and Bobby and I go out on Tuesdays and help do trash with sanitation. And we started this several years ago because we didn't feel that cleaning up the city one day a week for the 1 day a year was sufficient to get it all done. And since we probably do at least 2 truckfuls, if not 3 every week, and they have about 24 to 30,000 pounds on them. So we've picked up a lot of trash, and hopefully we've gotten rid of a lot of piles. But now this is the opportunity. We have a partnership, and we started out partnering first with Earlham College students, and they have come every year now for about 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
This year the chamber is going to come back, and they had their clean sweep and stopped it for several years, but they've decided to do that. So they have some IU East members and Ivy Tech and Purdue students going to help them, and they will be doing all of the main streets and in the city that are heavily traveled in the downtown area, National Road, Main Street. And then we are working on, we start at Star Park side, and we have Vale, and we'll have North Richmond this year, and also Old Richmond. So
And
Denise,
Star.
you can give us a little more what the date and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it.
Like you said, we're going to start, here's the map. We're going to start the first week is April 20th through the 26th, and we're going to do a Saturday kickoff. We need lots of volunteers. We're going to have the street and parks and sanitary working along with the volunteers. They can put out as much as this is their chance. Put it all out. There's not a limit on the items. Like when we run special pickups, we have to limit our items. So they can put out many things out front of their house. If they need help putting them out, this is the time to call and get one of our workers to help them. It can be furniture to bags or boxes, yard waste. They can do tires, four tires per household, no charge, because tires are expensive to dispose of. We're going to run, like I said, that Saturday, and we're going to start, my mind went blank, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Now you said, I got to correct something, I think. You said put it out in front of the house, and the areas that we'll be going in will be in the alleys because the majority of the trash is in the alleys.
Right. Should have
where you pick
said
up.
wherever we set your trash. Yes, thank you. For wherever you set your trash, put the items.
We'll pick it up no matter where it's at, though.
Of course.
Because we have people on all streets and sidewalks and alleys that day, so.
Right.
We're going to have a ton of
Ton of them.
volunteers.
And that's good. But we can use more.
That's always. And it's something that if you can't be there that day, if you call us, we can probably find a place for them to go help somebody that is elderly or disabled that can't get their yard work done at least, or they
Right.
might have things to carry.
Right.
But also all the abandoned yards we'll be doing that day and getting them, at least the front of the house is really cleaned up so that it makes the whole neighborhood more presentable.
And we've had calls of people asking, can they give us addresses of abandoned homes so they could get cleaned up during this? So we thought that was nice that the public wants to give us a heads up on some properties.
That's great.
So, did you want me to tell the weeks?
That would be, well, let's go a little more detail on the 20th first. We will start, so they have to have all of the things out by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And if for some reason we don't get it all done that day, then we'll go back in that neighborhood.
Throughout the
or in
week.
that whole district throughout that following week and pick it up.
Yes.
So leave it out there, don't bring it back in.
Yes,
Is the real
leave
key.
it out. People do call and ask, are we still coming back through? That's if there's an area that they haven't been through, of course, call us and let us know. But we do run that whole week. The guys are diligent
If everybody
about
could get
going
it out
through.
by 8 o'clock that morning, it'll all be picked up
Yes.
that day. Because there's enough people out in trucks. All the trucks will be out, plus the street and the park department.
Parks.
So there's no excuse not to get rid of things.
Right, this is
And
the time.
like I said, we have enough volunteers. If you need something heavy carried out of your basement or garage or whatever, we can do that too. And Bobby loves to cut down trees, so we can do that.
mow yards.
Mow yard. Well, hopefully we won't be mowing then, but
No, not Saturday. It's too cold and wet and rainy. I just know it's
Oh,
going.
April 20th.
Yeah,
I know
it's
that.
going to be nice this
day.
year.
Every year we've done this, it's you know what it's like.
Yeah.
and I think like in North Richmond, they're having a special group that's going to work there, and so even if you don't want to help us, you can help somebody else or you can do your own yard.
Right.
Or if you know somebody that lives in that area, be sure to. I have a group of students that are going to be passing out flyers the first week of the month in this first district. So
Well,
that
and
they
Denise is going to put them in the bill.
Anyone
Everyone
that
in
receives a
their-
sanitary district bill will get an insert.
the whole thing. Okay.
Yes.
But I've
That
got a
means one-
one page. Maybe they could pass that out.
Okay.
So we can just
Okay.
identify the
Just
area so that
remind
they
them.
know.
That's good too.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you go on with the rest of the cleanup?
So were you going to touch on if they come, we have lunch? It's a,
If they're
Well, if not
registered.
too many come,
If you
we can
call
always
it's an
get more.
incentive. It's an
It is
incentive.
incentive. We eat at noon at Star.
At Star. So this year, like I said, it's the 20th, and that's the only week we're going to run the Saturday. So it's the 20th through the 26th, and like Mayor said, it's Elizabeth Star, Star Parkside, North Richmond, Vale, and Old Richmond. Then we're going to move along to week 2, which is the 29th through the 3rd. So the rest of them are the Monday through Friday, and that's South Richmond and South neighborhoods. Anyone that questions where they're at can call in. We always are more than welcome to get you to figure out which neighborhood you're at. Week 3 is May 6th through the 10th, and it's Fairview, plus all areas north of Peacock Road to city limits. Week 4 is May 13th through the 17th, and that's the Reeveston neighborhood. And they had asked that we let everyone know they will have their normal roll-offs that they set out for people during their
Are
time.
we having roll-offs in the other areas?
The first week.
Just the
On
first
Saturday.
weekend?
Yeah, on
And
Saturday.
then if someone wants to arrange their
Arrange
own,
it.
they can.
Okay.
Then week 5 is May 20th through the 24th, and that's the big one. Joseph Moore, Parkview, Westview, Baxter, Rose Hamilton, and JFK, plus all the way to Airport Road. So we're,
We may
yeah,
have to work that week.
We may have to.
it's a big one. But we are, this is your time. We don't limit it. So if they have items they want to get rid of and any help they need, if they'll call, I believe at the end of the showing they put our phone numbers for anyone to call. We'd be glad to help them and get the city cleaned.
Right. And this is their opportunity themselves. It shouldn't be that somebody else has to do it all the time. We get some complaints from people about we shouldn't be doing this, that the owner or the property should. Well, it just doesn't happen sometimes. And it's amazing when especially when we go in and do a big job and the neighbors come out and thank us. And now we've seen neighbors in that alley take it upon themselves to keep up their little area.
Right.
Even though it's not theirs, there's 2 or 3 houses each time, and that's what it's all about, just helping each other.
Each other.
You know, prospective business owners coming to town, if they come to town and see a dirty town, I would think that maybe they're thinking the citizens don't care, maybe government don't care. So I feel like it's everybody's part to keep our city
It really
clean.
is.
Right.
Put a best image out there for prospective businessmen if they want to open up one here. So
Very true.
We've had a lot of people that are going around looking for metals and stuff, and I think we've gotten word to most of them, no more messes. And then now they're good about putting stuff back in the dumpsters or the rows. You know, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But don't make a mess of it.
there's actually a city ordinance against that.
Yeah.
They can remove the recyclables, but if they take 3 or 4 bags of trash out, they got to put it back in, or they could be fined. The city ordinance. So what good does that do if they're,
Right.
trying to recycle and they're losing money because they have to pay fines?
Right.
So
I think our biggest problem is with mattresses when they get the springs out and then that fluffy stuff blows all over the place and sticks all over the place. So.
makes it lighter to pick up.
Yeah, but it's a lot of stupid. Well, like I said, we certainly hope a lot of people take advantage of all of this and get out, and we have a good time doing it too. There, it would be nice if we had some kind of idea of how many people will be there for the lunch count. So if you have a group on your own, your church, the school, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, if they want to call us and let us know ahead of time, so we certainly don't want to run out of food.
Right.
And outside of that, we provide the bags. If you have your own gloves, that would be great because somehow they keep turning up missing. We recycle them, rewash them, but I think they've been washed a little bit too much. Some of them have to go by the wayside. So if you have your own broom or shovel, what else will they need that day?
just dress appropriate for the weather.
For the
Yeah.
weather.
Beautiful day.
It could be
I know,
hot, it
think
could be
positive,
cold.
think positive.
We've had
Beautiful.
a very nice selection.
We have, from snow to sleet to rain.
We've had a lot of rain.
I can't remember a nice day.
Oh, I think we had one.
Maybe so. But any day we're out there cleaning up the city's a good day. So
This year it's the 20th, and that's the only week we're going to run the Saturday. So it's the 20th through the 26th, and like Mayor said, it's Elizabeth Star, Star Parkside, North Richmond, Vale, and Old Richmond. Move along to week 2, which is the 29th through the 3rd, so the rest of them are the Monday through Friday, and that's South Richmond and South neighborhoods. Week 3 is May 6th through the 10th, and it's Fairview, plus all areas north of Peacock Road to city limits. Week 4 is May 13th through the 17th, and that's the Reeveston neighborhood. then week 5 is May 20th through the 24th, and that's the big one. Joseph Moore, Parkview, Westview, Baxter, Rose Hamilton, and JFK, plus all the way to Airport Road.
Well, maybe we should say why we only do the one Saturday, because some neighborhoods want to know, well, why can't they have a Saturday? We do this because it's a partnership with Earlham. It's their day of service, their community service day.
Right.
So it's their choice. They pick a Saturday, and we partner, and that's our kickoff date. So, and they're prepared to bring 120 to 150 students.
Right.
So that's
Can't pass that.
Can't pass that
We
up.
have another 50 from IUEs.
Great.
Wow.
And then we have Centerville High Schools coming over to help this year.
That's
Awesome.
good.
And there's the Green Club at Richmond High School. So the Gorge cleanup is April 6th, the first Saturday of April. If anybody
Right.
would like to help that one, you can go every day. Now, you don't have to just pick one. But we have a lot of the younger kids that like to do that, climbing up the hills in the mud and stuff. But,
Great.
and then a group of high school on my youth council, they're going to clean up 3 of the parks this weekend of the 12th, 13th, and 14th of April. Springwood, Reservoir, and the 10th Street Park. And I says, well, I hope that, we're going to do the 10th Street Park on the 20th also, so I'm not sure. But there's plenty of opportunity to volunteer.
Plenty.
So. And what is it about volunteering? Makes you feel good. You help somebody, but you feel better about your own self.
That's
So.
right.
Right. Well, and if there are any people who have community service hours that they need to do, whether for school
Right.
or for whatever reason, we can always
Get it
fill your
counted,
community
yeah.
service hours. So.
And we especially encourage the kids with spring break. I think a lot of them are late doing their hours this year, so they say because of the weather. But there's an opportunity to help pass these flyers out, or we can even start pre-cleaning in some of the abandoned houses. And even though we're just talking trash today, I'd like to just give a little unpaid solicitation. This is the month of reading to your children. There's a new organization under the direction of Rick A. House and Vic Josie, and they're trying to give a book to every child under school age, so they have their own book at home. So I know they're collecting book, but it's more important, all of you moms and dads and grandma and grandpas and aunts and uncles, even mean police officers, they can find a child to read to every day. It's so important for their education. And then they will be able to read all the brochures that we put out with flying colors. So it's called K-Ready. There is a number that we can get to you. I think they were just on PI Live not too long ago, but it is so important that we get to reading early and not just putting them in front of the TV. So,
Right.
so on April 20th, we won't be reading to the kids, but we can get them out and get exercise, and that's good for reading also. And there'll be plenty of exercise for everybody. So I hope you will take some time, and if you can't be with us, think of us that day, or you can go ahead and pre-do something, or even afterwards in all the other neighborhoods. I know there's some case in every neighborhood that somebody might need assistance in. We hope that you will be able to do that for them. So thank you, and we will see you next time.